Number 3, the Bitcoin Renaissance. There is a lot packed into the Bitcoin Renaissance. These are Bitcoin layer 2s, these are Bitcoin ordinals, and also Bitcoin restaking. Bitcoin is also getting restaking as well, just like what we were talking about with Eigenlayer on Ethereum, but now with Bitcoin. So the tagline for this section, Bitcoin is growing its first ever ecosystem of decentralized applications. Since the beginning of Bitcoin, it's never been able to have its own native applications. Building on Bitcoin has been too primitive to do anything meaningful or useful. The Lightning Network, which was Bitcoin's previous path to scalability, is now just kind of being acknowledged as just a failure in technology. It was just a dead end. And now, thanks to new technological breakthroughs, people have learned how to build real applications on Bitcoin, unlocking the $1.4 trillion of Bitcoin market cap to new native use cases. And the idea here is that applications, layer 2s on Ethereum have already been proven out as finding product market fit in the crypto space. We have now learned how to put those projects on Bitcoin. So we're just taking a lot of the innovation that's happened elsewhere in crypto, layering it on top of the Bitcoin stack, which is one of the theses, the ideas, the hypothesis that many Bitcoiners would have. Like if the crypto industry would discover anything useful, you could put it on Bitcoin. The demand for Bitcoin Renaissance exposure was, I think, pretty well illustrated in Stacks, which is one of these like Bitcoin sidechain, Bitcoin app layers before really these technological breakthroughs were really discovered. So Stacks is a project that's up 400% on the year. And that, to me, that's just illustrating how much demand there is. And it really doesn't stop at Stacks. The thing that is, I think, really getting people excited, in addition to ordinals, which we'll get to in a second, is the BitVM. The BitVM is unlocking real Bitcoin layer 2s as opposed to just like sidechains. And so this is a technological innovation that is still in research mode, but many startups are building Bitcoin layer 2s under the assumption that eventually BitVM will be a fully fledged piece of technological infrastructure that they will be able to use. And so last cycle, Ethereum layer 2s went from infancy to maturity. And this cycle, they're getting even more mature. And now Bitcoin is like, okay, I'm going to take some of that technological innovation and layer that on the Bitcoin layer 1. Babylon is the Bitcoin restaking project. And so just generally, Bitcoin as a unit is being leveraged in highly productive ways. Last cycle, we had Celsius, and last cycle, we had BlockFi, these Bitcoin centralized lending applications. And now there's no good way to make your Bitcoins useful. So things like Babylon and also Bitcoin layer 2s are allowing Bitcoin holders to do things with their Bitcoin. And in a bull market, people want to touch their tokens. People want to apply their tokens in productive ways to get yield, to get upside in ways that are just beyond holding. Lastly, I'll say all of this kind of got started by the ordinals revolution, which is ordinals is basically NFTs on Bitcoin using Bitcoin block space to host images, data, and this is also getting kind of pioneered by the Taproot Wizards project, Eric Wall and Udi Wertheimer. Magic Eden is an NFT platform, an NFT marketplace, kind of like OpenSea, but they have specialized now recently in ordinals. And so NFT drops are happening on Bitcoin, and they are pumping, which is a sure sign of a bull market. So if you are just interested in holding Bitcoin and also playing with Bitcoin, the whole Bitcoin Renaissance narrative is probably for you.
Yeah, I think one macro theme of Bitcoin Renaissance is it's basically following the path of Ethereum. So yes. You see ordinals, these are sort of Bitcoin's version of NFTs. You heard about layer 2s, right? This is something where Ethereum has already explored the frontier here, and this is Bitcoin following along. And you were also talking about Babylon, which is essentially sort of a early stage restaking protocol using Bitcoin. It's kind of like the eigenlayer of Bitcoin, let's call it. I think one thing to note, just to dampen a few things, is of course Bitcoin at the base level is less expressive. It hasn't dealt with some of the things that Ethereum has dealt with respect to like MEV and like how do you actually expand the data availability layer, right? I mean, we just, as we're recording this, Ethereum has just completely upgraded its data availability layer and provided a ton more bandwidth to its layer 2s. I expect Bitcoin will have to go through these same sort of things. And even something like the BitVM, which is a breakthrough, it seems like it's not ready yet. It does seem to provide actual, real, legitimate layer 2s, But these are optimistic rollups in Ethereum parlance. So we can't yet do a ZK rollup on top of Bitcoin using the BitVM technology. So there's some limitations there. Anyway, it's an interesting story because this is Bitcoin going through the same trajectory as Ethereum, just with a few more limitations and a few years behind, I would say. But a lot of opportunity there. Number of the projects you mentioned aren't public. The one that we did talk about and we looked at a chart was Stacks, and it seems to be getting a ton. It's up 400% on the year. So it's getting a ton of this narrative activity. But I expect many more Bitcoin-centric layer 2s and projects to launch this year, and people should keep their eyes open.
Yeah, basically, if you have Bitcoin, then a lot of projects are coming online that are going to compete for your Bitcoin. In addition to the ETFs, this is probably the second biggest source of excitement in the Bitcoin space. To continue leveling up your crypto game, then you need to get on the Bankless newsletter. It's the world's most popular crypto email and is completely free. Just click below to sign up.